Welcome in, everybody, to the first annual Speedy Adventures Awards show, aka the Spaddies. Here we are. How is everybody doing today? So glad to see everybody coming on out. So let's go ahead and just jump right in with our first award. Let's do this thing, everybody. Everybody shut up!
¡Chic! Vale. Te quedas de piedra ante la... Bien, la ciencia es divertida cuando conoces el...
It's the gravedigger. There, I poked holes in it. Nice cork. Okay.
And that was our first category. The Hot Speed Game Award goes to The Curse of Monkey Island. Many hot runs coming in, new runners. Yes, The Curse of Monkey Island. And we actually spoke with, got to have a little interview with Totem, who is the current world record holder for The Curse of Monkey Island. So let's hear what Totem has to say. Alrighty, everybody. We're here talking with Totem about the Hot Speed Game Award awarded to The Curse of Monkey Island. Now, Totem, what was it that got you interested in speedrunning Curse of Monkey Island?
Well, first of all, hi Spade. Hope you're doing well. And what got me interested was the OneShortEye video. To be honest, like that's a big catalyst. Like I've always been a fan of Monkey Island games since I was very little, and I've been interested in speedrunning for a while now. But I never dedicated myself much to actually speedrunning a game, getting super into it. So I saw the video and I was like, okay, this might be fun. But it wasn't until a few months later that I actually got into it. And I decided to start with Curse, because it was always my favorite Monkey Island game. And it's probably my favorite adventure game out of all of them. And I saw that some people were like actually playing it at the time. So I thought it might be fun, and well, the rest is history, I guess.
That's great. You love to hear it. Nice to hear that, the videos we're putting out are bringing new people in. That's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, there was a lot of development of tech and routing and strategy for Curse of Monkey Island this past year. What was your favorite change to the run?
Well, there's a lot of tiny details and tiny improvements that I would like to shout out, but I think the most important out of all of them have been first, the save strats that people started using more often this year. That was before I started speedrunning. And yeah, I think that just made part 3, which is the insult sword fighting, much smoother. It was a very feared part of the run. It still is, but I think it made it much easier to manipulate the RNG, which is still there very much, but it's much different now. And then I think I'd also like to shout out the menu buffering, which I found out completely by accident, but I think it changed the run so much, and like I'm very happy with how it turned out, because also people contributed so much to the find. Like people started finding possible uses for it, and I think that was some great, and gave some sense of community also to the run.
Absolutely, yeah. While the run may kind of look very similar to its older counterparts, it plays very differently nowadays. I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very different experience. I mean, I wasn't around back then, but still.
Well, that's great. And for you, Totem, what do you like most about running the Curse of Monkey Island?
Well, for me, it's definitely like getting to actually play the game. Since I love it so much, I also love it for the atmosphere that it has. It's like the graphics, the sound, the experience of it all. And that's something that definitely comes through while running the game, even though it's going through super fast, let's say. But you still get to see the graphics, hear the music, right? And even though don't get the dialogue, it's still like a funny game, even if it's not on purpose. You know, you have the iconic lines like your mother, whatnot. And that's something that still comes through even if you're running the game through super fast. And also outside of the actual run, I would say like finding all those little improvements was a pretty great time that I had. Like just not running the game, just trying to find those little improvements in movement, in tech, to actually make the run faster, and in routing in general.
Absolutely. It is always fun to be on the cutting edge of a speed game. All right, Totem, thanks so much for talking to us today. And congratulations on your world record run. And hope to see more hot speed runs coming up this year. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, here we go. All righty. Thank you so much to spending the time to speak with us, Totem. And shout outs once again to the hot speed game of 2022, The Curse of Monkey Island. Can I get a round of applause? Thank you. All right, let's get our next award up and running here. What could it be? And that's time.
27:30.
Did you just say 27:30?
Yeah, 27:30.
That's new world record.
Wow. What?
Wow, dude. Yes! 31:22, new world record. I'm the best. Yes! Yes! 1842. Who do you think you are? I am. Woo! Yes! We did it! All right. The Awesome Achievement Award goes to a FrozenSpade. Congratulations. Good job, me. Yes, the Monkey Island Triple Crown. And I do believe there was a little interview with FrozenSpade. Let's see what he has to say.
Spade, congratulations on the Awesome Achievement Award. Did you know from the start of the year that the Triple Crown was something you wanted to do?
So if I recall correctly, not quite from the start of the year, but right at the beginning of the year, my first little project I was working on was a clean sweep of all of the Monkey Island 2 categories. So I had started by running basically all the non-any percent categories. So that's the glitched percent, the light percent, and then the normal glitched percent, which are all kind of these fun subcategories. And at some point I realized, as I was closing in on the Monkey Island 2 any percent, right, that the Triple Crown had just been something that was on the back of my mind for a long time. Because at times I'd held either one of Monkey Island 1, 2, or 3 world records for any percent, but not since all the way back to 2017 had any one person actually gotten the Triple Crown, which was Steve. So it'd been something that was on my mind for a long time, but I could never quite hold all 3 bases at once. So once I got close to the clean sweep of Monkey Island 2, I realized, because I had held Monkey Island 1 at the time, world record, I was getting close to the Monkey Island 2, and then there was the looming high performance crazy world record run for Curse of Monkey Island. So I did some initial work on, and I didn't quite achieve the Monkey Island 2 world record at the time, but this was early in 2022. But when our Speedy Adventures marathon happened in April, I had submitted Curse of Monkey Island to run, and when that got accepted, I shifted my focus onto Curse of Monkey Island, and I did manage to PB leading up to the marathon, but hadn't quite broken that world record barrier. But I stuck with it. I was playing very hot at the time, and then managed to finally beat the long-standing high-performance world record one in Monkey Island 3. And I guess that got me nice and warmed up, because as soon as I came back to Monkey Island 2, I quickly got world record, and I barely managed to pull it off in time because Leo Litz at the time had started running Monkey Island 1 again and was getting very close to beating that time. So I only somehow barely managed to achieve the Triple Crown, if only for a couple of days.
What was the most difficult part for you?
It's hard to say, because there's really, my mind goes in two directions. At the heart of it, Monkey Island 2 has been my main speed game ever since I got really started speedrunning. And on the one side, with Monkey Island 1, right, a lot of heavy RNG because of the grinding for the credit early strat to get that big time save. On the other hand, in Monkey Island 3, Curse of Monkey Island, again, grinding out RNG to get past Rottingham quickly, because we had started really, especially when High Performance came in and got his world record, really pushed the RNG. So I think at the end of the day, they both feel like it's a pretty low chance of success, but given the amount of execution in Curse of Monkey Island that's required to go fast, and given the point at which the RNG happens, I think Curse was the harder one for me to get that world record.
Are you done with Monkey Island now, or can we expect even more great runs?
I don't know that I'll ever be truly done with Monkey Island. I think there's plenty more Monkey Island to play. Do I have much Monkey Island in the near future? Not as much. I think I've kind of given myself, we'll take a little bit of break. There's a lot of Monkey Island this past year, but still, even so, going to be squeezing some Monkey Island. Probably still quite a bit of Monkey Island in the next year, in the upcoming year. Shoutouts to FrozenSpade for achieving the Triple Crown. That's world record in Monkey 1, 2, and 3. A round of applause for FrozenSpade. Thank you. All right, let's get our next award.
Congratulations on the Crimson Diamond winning the Short Challenge Award. How did you find speedrunning the game?
Oh my goodness. First of all, thank you so much. I think the Speedy Adventures community is just so wonderful, and I'm so glad that I got to be included in this. So for how I found speedruns, I've never done that before ever. But I can see the appeal. I don't usually like being rushed on anything or having any kind of time pressure put on me, but I have to say, like, live streaming the speedrun challenging and things, it was a lot of fun and more fun than I was expecting, definitely. So I can totally see what you guys get so excited about.
Did it make you think about the game at all differently?
It did, it really did, especially from a testing standpoint, because I did find that there were some friction points in the game that even when I was testing, I found minorly annoying, such as there was a bit of a glitch with the speed sliders and the volume sliders. And I kind of would put up with it on my own as I was testing it, but what I found is because speedrunners are working on a game so repetitively, what can be a minor annoyance to some people can be a really major annoyance when you're speedrunning. And when I started speedrunning, I looked at the game in this way all of a sudden, and I realized, yeah, I should actually get around to fixing them. I was going to fix them anyway, but it motivated me to resolve some of those issues earlier, and it actually does end up saving me time because those friction points have been kind of sanded off at this point. Another thing I did change because you guys chose it for the short challenge and all the speedrunning happened was the enter key used to open up the parser box. And I realized that I didn't think this, but when speedrunners are progressing through text boxes, they will keep the enter key pressed down. And that's not, it tends to cause people to lose time if the text parser box pops open at the end of a conversation. So I changed that. I've now made it so the enter key just clears text boxes, does not open up the parser box. And two other things. One other thing was I now altered the text parser a bit where you can open up the west door or the left door, or open up a right door in a corridor or something, or open up a north door or a south door, just so it's easier from a pathing perspective to save time if people do want to navigate the game a little bit more like that. And the last thing is I became very, very mindful of animations that would play slowly or conversations that were a long conversation. I tried to make those as much as possible skippable with the pressing the escape key, even if there's no prompt underneath at the bottom. Just a quick tip for speedrunners in the future: if there's a particularly long animation, chances are you might be able to skip it pressing the escape key. And that's all lessons I learned while either running it myself or watching other people run the game.
What discoveries from people's runs most surprised you?
It's interesting because the Crimson Diamond is a text parser game. And what that means is there are synonyms for things all over the place. So, there might be a waste paper basket or a trash can or a bin. There are all kinds of ways to refer to a certain object in the game. And speedrunners have been really good and really surprisingly good at finding the most efficient way to type something. So whatever is the least amount of keys or the closest amount of keys or anything like that. There was one particular command which was to help somebody, and I realized that I did have help as a parser command, or the shortcut was H to put up the help window for the player, but I didn't even think that it could be used in game that way. So that kind of did surprise me. I'm looking forward to watching players come up with the synonyms that I did put in the game, but just the way that they work with them to save that little bit of time has been amazing. And of course, I mentioned about time pressure, and I was amazed by just the typing accuracy under time pressure and how fast that speedrunners can type in the game. Because I certainly can't do it that well, but it's certainly impressive to watch that happen with other people.
Do you think you'll speedrun the full game when it's out?
I think I will. You know what? I probably will do it just from a testing standpoint, even, as I'm testing it even before launch, but I would like to try to get some runs on the board. But I want to wait for you guys. I want to wait for the speedrunners to have a crack at it first because I like seeing the problem-solving process of that figuring out of what the best route is. And that discovering of the routing, I think is I think a big part of the fun of it. So I want to wait on that, and I don't want to show my hand too early with that.
Alrighty. Congratulations once again to the Crimson Diamond and to all the Crimson Diamond runners and short challenge participants. Round of applause. Thank you. Alright, let's see what we have next up in the queue.
Visit the trader again, because for the cards we did get a hand, this claw from one of the orcs. We can trade it with the arcane tomb.
A chance to pull ahead here. It's actually going to be close. Hopefully her voice doesn't forget.
Because he's not there, he's asleep. We go inside, feed the hexapod garlic. You can also just kill it, but it's faster to just bribe it with food.
You got it. First try.
First try. There's some time gained back.
Nice. That's my dude.
Yeah,
So-
the Lemming system works.
All right. The Community Organizer Award goes to Summer. All right, and we did get a chance to speak with Summer.
Congrats on winning the Community Organizer Award. What do you like about Speedy Adventures?
First of all, thank you very much for the award. Didn't expect it. Didn't even know the community has awards, so that's a pleasant surprise. I haven't been around the community very long myself. I think I started participating. Well, I've been following speedrunning for a long time in general. But really, adventure game speedrunning, I think I only started watching streamers like FrozenSpade and the Woofs and so on, and some others from the more Sierra-focused community like David TKI and such around 2020, 2021, sometime then. And that was when I kind of started talking with the community a little bit as an outsider who isn't a speedrunner, but I immediately got like the impression everyone is so tight. Everyone is so passionate about speedrunning point-and-click adventure games and just adventure games in general. And I love both speedrunning and adventure games, and it was just immediately such a great feeling about the community. And I had already done organizing other charity stream events, etc., with other communities, and was like, oh, if they want to do something like that, that would be really cool to be able to help out with.
Tell me about the Speedy Adventures Marathon.
Yeah, so it's pretty much, I knew or I had heard that the Speedy Adventures community had organized marathon stream events in the past. I think the last one before the one that we did in 2022 was in 2019, but those were smaller scale events. But I got the impression from talking with people, we all love sharing our passion for speedrunning and for these games. And I know through the years, some of these speedrunners have already participated in other marathons like GDQ and I don't know off the top of my head other ones, but there are various. And it was like, oh yeah, I know that I hear that people have like an interest in doing this with the community. I know that it's happened in the past. It sounds like people want to put together a marathon, but there wasn't really anyone putting their hand up, so to say, okay, I'll organize it. So I just decided to do it, to take the burden upon me. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We put it on in April 2022. We did it for about 12 hours or so, 18 runs, a bunch of which were races, and they were all great runs and races across various games. The big series, Monkey Island, Quest for Glory, Full Throttle, Sam Exit Road, Gabriel Knight, and then some more indie or obscure games like Quest for Infamy, Warcraft Adventures, Lord of the Clans, which was kind of a game that had been lost for a long time, and then in recent years had surfaced again, and it was really cool to see Amiga run that, and some other great ones. And it was also really cool because we kind of put the call out for submissions to everyone, both in the community and just in general. It was open via the Ungus platform, and so we got a lot of submissions from both long-time community members and also some people who were completely unknown to us, outsiders, but still really cool to get so many great submissions. And we try to accept as many as we could and fit in as much as we could within the time frame that we had set that we would be able to support. Because, well, it's hard to put on an event that lasts an entire day or multiple days, unless you have a really big community and ours is relatively small. But still, over the course of 12 hours, we put on some great runs, and we brought everyone together. And I know that some people were like, "Oh, this game, I've never seen it before, but it looks super neat," like Warcraft Adventures, as I mentioned, or Rama was also a big one that Crow speedrun at the event that I had personally never seen before or really knew anything about. Was like, oh my god, I'm discovering new stuff here. And I got the impression that it really brought the community together. So it was very, very cool to do that, to be given the opportunity to do it. Of course, it wasn't just me. I kind of wrangled everyone, so to say. But we had so many contributions from a lot of great people. I would foremost thank Firefight for providing the infrastructure for streaming multiple runs, multiple racers at the same time, etc. The technical aspect, he really helped with that, and that was such a major thing, because otherwise, well, it's not as smooth of an event and not quite as nice. So yeah, that was super cool, and everyone else who helped out, also the panel who helped with the game submission selection. I couldn't do that on my own, and I didn't feel qualified as someone who isn't really a speedrunner to judge all the submissions. So had a huge amount of help there from a lot of community members. That was great as well.
Would you ever speedrun yourself?
I've thought about it many times. I've been watching speedruns for like 10 years or so, and well, yeah, the early days was a lot of console games, platformers, stuff that I also enjoy watching and playing sometimes, but don't really get into as much myself. And then in recent years, I've been watching a lot of adventure game speedruns, as I said, from the Speedy Adventures community and so on. And yeah, I would consider it, but I just haven't found the time or energy or willpower to really get into it. It just feels like such a daunting venture to sit down and grind the game for hours on end and really learn all the ins and outs and master the controls and just fast inputs and everything that you have to do to try to speed run. I mean, you can start off like very simple, of course, and then build up, but it just feels so daunting. So that's why I haven't really tried dedicating it myself to it yet. And I don't feel like I'm in the best place in my life right now. Like last year was kind of hard. I think I took too much on in general, like Speedy Adventures. Not only that, but also volunteering for other stuff and work. It's been really hard. So I don't think I could really fit it in my life right now, but hopefully in the future I can really find the opportunity and like a game that I feel like, okay, I could do this one, or this one really excites me to try running myself. Yeah, so kind of just waiting for the right time and opportunity, but I won't say that it will never happen.
Congratulations to Summer for winning the Community Organizer Award. A round of applause for Summer. Thank you so much for putting in a tremendous amount of work getting the Speedy Adventures Marathon from back in last year, getting that up and running. Thank you so much. Let's have a look at our next award. That was, of course, the Behind the Scenes Award going to Bosca. Bosca working on the Scum VM development team. And we did get a chance to ask Bosca a few questions. So let's see what they had to say.
What attracted you to Scum VM development? I was raised a LucasArts kid. I was almost 2 years old when The Curse of Monkey Island was released, and my father introduced me to that, and more followed. I found myself continuing to play these old games as years went by, until, of course, modern systems became a thing, and not a single one of those games ran correctly. So, of course, I discovered Scum VM as a user first. That was until I noticed something was off in the way music was handled in my favorite game, Curse of Monkey Island. Audio transitions weren't working properly, but I couldn't do anything about it, so I left it at that. Years later, after a computer engineering degree, I thought I could start looking at it to see what was going on behind the scenes of the audio engine powering the game. I just looked at the code on and off for 5 years, until in late 2020, I had the courage to actually start doing something about it and submit my first patches to the audio engine. That was digital iMuse, for the record, just out of naive guesswork. After several guesswork patches, I was contacted by one of the lead developers, Sev, who told me what reverse engineering is, taught me the basics for the first time, and asked me if I was feeling like trying to reverse engineer the iMuse engine from scratch to re-implement it. I really must thank him for introducing me to what is now one of my favorite hobbies, aside from playing music. When you see someone's posted a fresh issue in Speedy Adventures, are you pleased or annoyed? Oh, I'm really pleased. Since my first experience with reverse engineering, I understood how important the accuracy of our re-implementations is to people, and most of all things, how important it is with respect to software preservation. So please, continue sending those. You guys are the best quality assurance we could dream of. It's mostly thanks to you people that the Scum engine recently saw an incredible amount of accuracy fixes. So much so that our implementation of the Curse of Monkey Island interpreter seems to be 100% correct now. But please, prove me wrong if not. What are your next big aims for Scum VM? Right now I'm working on the digital audio engine for the Scum Humongous Entertainment games. I'm an audio guy and a musician, I can't help it. After that, I'd like to get my hands dirty on the Grim Fandango engine. I have to port digital iMuse for that game, and provide accuracy fixes to another favorite of mine, the Broken Sword series.
Shoutouts to Bosca for the Behind the Scenes Award. Thank you so much for your work. A round of applause. Helping runners around the world able to play and speedrun their favorite games. All right, shoutouts. Let's see what else we have. Let's see what is up next. And also, additionally, thank you to OneShortEye for the read-through on that one.
Nobody wants to do that. Only crazy people like me and the other speedrunners. First time when I did a run of it, I ended up just getting up and walking away from my stream and making a sandwich.
Why? Well, the game takes the player's input and tries to store it as a number, specifically a 16-bit unsigned integer, but also complicated the mental calculations.
So, for instance, if you learn Family Reunion, but you also have learned Smell Your Breath.
Technically speaking, if we're reading the code right, we should only have to wait 1 second, but that's just not the case.
So, what gives? While making this video, I talked to Sluicebox.
We were all convinced Chuck was going to get it first because he knew the game better than any one of us, and he was just throwing so many runs at it. So obviously we all thought, if anyone's going to get sub 50, it's got to be Chuck.
That was the Content Creation Award going to, of course, drumroll, OneShortEye. Congratulations. And a big thank you to all the preservation and great work you do telling our stories here in the Speedy Adventures community. Let's see what OneShortEye had to say about it. And we are here with OneShortEye, winner of the Content Creation Award. Congratulations.
Thank
and
you. I
our
appreciate
first
that.
question. When did you first begin making speedrun-related content?
So the first video I made was about King's Quest 1, and I started working on that kind of early 2020, and that came out in mid-2020. I think that was July, actually. And it's kind of funny looking back at it, to watch it back now. There's all sorts of things that are kind of embarrassing about it. You know, the audio quality isn't great. I was recording it in a kitchen that wasn't sound treated or anything. All of the transitions are like cross fades that don't look that great. The pacing's really slow. But I got it out, you know, and that was it was a real accomplishment because I'd never done anything of that scope before, and people responded to it. So I guess the lesson is, push through the awkward early bad parts if you want to get out anything creative.
Absolutely. Sometimes that's the hardest thing, is just getting started and just getting your first thing finished and out there. Great. Excellent. Yep. Next question. What is it that has drawn you to covering point-and-click adventure games specifically?
So I started speedrunning point-and-click adventure games in really late 2018. I started with a game called Sanitarium. It's a point-and-click sort of horror spooky game. And then after that, moved on to the King's Quest series, King's Quest 6, and just kind of got ingrained in that community and, made friends, made, lots of memories. And as time went on with that, I kind of realized that, there were a lot of really neat stories that were happening here that weren't, being told, and, in the kind of, like the more popular games would get the speedrun documentaries. And I sort of realized after a while that if I wanted those stories to go out there, someone would have to step up and do it. And, I had done a little bit of hobbyist video editing in the past, and I felt, that might be fun. So let's try this out. But it was basically realizing that there were stories here to tell, and it was a community that I was a part of. And I knew that if no one else was going to do it, why not me? As far as why point-and-click adventure games specifically, that was my childhood. I remember it was either really late 80s or real early 90s. My dad came home with a CompuAd IBM compatible, and that was our gaming machine, right? And so, I remember, I think the first game that we had on that was actually Where in the USA Was Carmen Sandiego. But after that, it was the Sierra games. We were a Sierra household. I'm not sure if my dad just didn't know about LucasArts games, but he was the one who bought things, so oh well. But that was my kind of gaming, childhood. Obviously, I went over to friends' houses and they had consoles, but we didn't have a proper console until about the N64 era. So just always, identified more as a computer gamer, and specifically adventure games, because that's what we had around. And so that's why I cover those games.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing our stories from the Speedy Adventure community. And from this past year, did you have a favorite video that you made?
I'm really proud of all of them, and I try, if I made something that I wasn't proud of, I wouldn't put it out. But I would say the one that was the most challenging and the one that I'm most happy to actually get done was the video on The Secret of Monkey Island. And I say that because that was a game that I had played before, and I had enjoyed playing The Secret of Monkey Island, but I had not played it a lot. It wasn't an ingrained part of my childhood, and I had never done a speed run of it, so I was kind of going in much more blind than perhaps other games that I had talked about. But I knew there was an interesting story there. There were some very kind and interesting runners and people to talk to. But I also felt the pressure with it, really, because it's such a beloved game. You don't want to mess that one up, right? That's one of those that you really don't want to screw up. And I do remember working on that. It really felt like the whole thing was a mess and a failure right up until the very end when it all came together, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And so that was kind of a huge weight off my chest with that. But I really do have to thank all the runners who spoke with me in interviews, not just for that, but for all of the videos, all the people who have answered questions over the time that I've been making these. I really couldn't do it without them, and I always think that being able to talk to everybody that I get to talk to is one of the best parts of this.
Well, that is excellent. I really appreciate that, and thank you so much for what you do for the Speedy Adventures community, and congratulations, OneShortEye, on the Content Creation Award. And I speak for everyone when I say we look forward to more videos in the future. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Shout outs once again to OneShortEye with the Content Creation Award. Round of applause for OneShortEye. Round of applause, everybody. And not only do we live in an era where there's been such a large influx into the Speedy Adventures community thanks to OneShortEye's videos, we now live in an era where new world records are being beaten by people who have come in since seeing these OneShortEye videos. So thank you so much. And let's see what our next award is going to be.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Who are you? Don't matter. Want some rye? Of course you do.
In inventory, click, put in inventory, begin.
You cheated.
Yes!
Shout outs to the utter demolition of Return to Zork, winner of the Game Demolition Award. Shout outs to additionally all the runners of Return to Zork. Shout out some names: Dark Shocks, JFC, Matsu Retro, W. Levy. And we did manage to get an interview with JFC. See what he has to say.
What sort of time do you think you could have gotten using only straps from 2021 and older?
That's a pretty good question. Considering the time I came on the scene, which was early 2022, I think like February or March. There weren't many active runners at the time. It was just kind of the SRC mods. And Livy had the de facto record at the time, which was, I believe, a 14x. And that was already twice as fast as the first records, the oldest records. So early 2022, Matsu, who has since rebranded as Colette Diskette, she had at the time, I believe it was a 1215 or a 1216. And they were actually changing the board rules at the time, or they were in the process of it when I came on the scene, and I kind of forced a few hands. Long story short, we had to standardize the cycles in DOSBox, but anyway, it's not important. This move actually disqualified, though, a lot of Colette's older runs, other people's too. So I remember when I was just starting out that I would marvel at the execution, especially on that 1216. And for me at the time, that was sort of, the bar. So I took her word as that sort of standard alongside Livy's, because they both of them, they've forgotten more about the game than I'll ever learn. That's for sure. The lore and the game knowledge just runs so deep there. So there was this 12-16, and we were bandying about the idea of like a sub 12. And I think, if we pretend that there was no new strats in 2022, I think that's probably where I would have ended up as well, down that low 12 mark, maybe 11x, because I've been practicing my own execution in the meantime, of course. A small understatement.
What discovery helped most in bringing that time down?
Oh, yeah, there's been a lot of discoveries, not just speedrun tech, too, other cool stuff. I'd say the single biggest deal this year is probably the Mach 2 flavor of the anim glitch. So the animation glitch, or the anim glitch, is kind of unique in like this like Frankenstein monster of a glitch that many of us, the active community members, we've all kind of sort of had a hand in constructing it. So Dark Shocks, he discovered the original glitch like over a year ago, late 2020. He was playing around with the save. Later on, Colette added her efforts and kind of helped develop it into what we now know as the Mach 1 anim glitch. And in that form, the glitch is really nice. It speeds up NPC interactions, shortens certain cutscenes. It just generally makes the run faster overall, which is great for a speedrun, obviously. This year, during run attempts and casual playthroughs, we started noticing that sometimes the game would be put into like an even faster state of anim glitch. And so that's kind of where the name came from, the Mach 2, and the original one got called Mach 1 for comparison. And it seemed to be kind of random for a while. Eventually, I was able to standardize an instance of it at the end of the run, without even realizing at the time that it was the same glitch. It was just kind of implemented differently. And these little branch implementations, we would call Mach 1.5 off of the Mach 1 because we're very original. But eventually, though, I was scrolling through the Discord and I came across, I think it was actually a routing suggestion by Livy to like save a couple of clicks coming out of the shack. That's not important. It turns out that in addition to saving those couple of clicks, this route actually puts the game into this super fast state and leaves it there. And we didn't quite realize this at the time. It was just like 2 months later when I just kind of randomly decided to slot it into a run. So it's a really critical change at a really critical point of the run, and it saves minutes, literally. We were talking about sub 12. Now sub 12 is not only possible, it's actually surpassable once you've practiced your execution. I actually kind of see it as a good benchmark these days. Sub 12, that you've learned a lot about the game. You can perform the run seriously. Yeah, so I'm a bit biased, but I think the Mach 2 anim glitch is the big winner this year. But there's so many others I could discuss. I won't, but I think that's the winner.
What discovery do you think is coolest?
The coolest is probably, okay, so at the end of the game, there's this called the Morpheus manipulation. It's a little manipulation you can use at the end of the game board game. Basically control the end antagonist and make him give you the fastest and most optimal patterns. It was actually discovered by accident by a variety streamer who was just kind of playing through the game over the course of like several weekends. And on her last weekend playing the game, she figured out this manipulation that you could make the boss move where you wanted him. It absolutely destroys the RNG barrier at the end of the game. It cannot be understated. And I kind of have a little bit of egg on my face with it because I was the only one in the community at the time that didn't see the potential. I actually made a pretty impassioned post about why it wouldn't save time. But I've seen the light. It's really cool. It's viable. Big shout out to Lethal Lucidity. Thank you so much. You are our boba. This is our boba skip.
All right. Congratulations to Return to Zork winning the Game Demolition Award. And of course, additionally, shout-outs to all the runners putting in work on that speedrun. A round of applause. All right. And with that, let's see what we have next up on our award list.
Got it. Don't screw up the final input, Kane. Holy! Ooh, I got the cursor on the right pixel. Just gotta execute now.
Shout outs to Kane for the Making Waves Award, Kane. And Kane actually sent us a video with the interview questions. So let's see that video.
How did I find it? Well, there's this YouTuber who's trying to cash in on all of the money and fame and girls that adventure game speedrunners get on a daily basis, and he may have accidentally mentioned the Discord once or twice in almost every video. It just seemed like an easy mock, you know? I figured I could steal a whole bunch of speedrunning tech. I just knew that if I could get sub 1 minute in Quest for Glory 1, all of the fame and money would be mine. Hello? I don't know if I would be running these games right now if not for that video, because I wasn't sure a parser game would be all that fun. But I was looking for some fairly simple speedruns, nothing too complicated, you know? And I saw Shorty's video, and I remember saying to myself, the speedrun is 1 minute long. Whatever happens, it won't be too much of a time sink. That was in November. Now I'm trying to do 20 frame perfect inputs in Quest for Glory 4. Why? In short, my name is Kane, and I hate all of you. Well, the biggest bounty in adventure games that I knew of was the bounty for Quest for Glory 4. The bounty was just really simple. Break the game. Anything will do. I think at that point speedrunners had been poking at it for years, but it just wouldn't break. This made the Quest for Glory 4 run slower than all of the any % runs from all the other games in the series combined. There is literally no difference in Quest for Glory 4 between any % and any % no major skips, because no major skips have been found. Finding one took me 2 days. I sound like such an asshole. But before I tell you how my life was ruined, I'll tell you a bit about the skip, which is by using multiple techs in tandem, including one out-of-bounds trick that I discovered, you can actually visit Magda the Fortune Teller early. Usually, you had to wait until day 5 before you could get in here, and the route actually spent a lot of time trying to figure out when and how to rest to get to day 5 as quickly as possible. Now, you could just get in here early. Quest for Glory 4 had its first big mega skip, and I was a hero. For 1 day. See, the thing was, the skip is only doable on the floppy disk version of the game, which runs slower overall than the CD version does. So the question was, how much time, if any, could this save? It turns out that question became academic when the very next day, I discovered a way to sleep to day 5 on the CD version. And now the CD version is just effortlessly faster than the floppy disk version once again, and this skip will never ever be used. But then I found a way to get into Baba Yaga's hut without doing the prerequisite quest, so I guess I'm back in their good graces again. The mega skip for the time being has just been relegated to a fun piece of speedrun history now, and ultimately it's many of the smaller skips that have been found which make Quest for Glory 4 faster now. But between those and the new Baba Yaga skip, we can finally say, officially, that running all of the other games in the series is now slower than running Quest for Glory 4, if only a little. So, since I wasted my time finding the mega skip, I thought I would waste everyone else's time telling this story. Anyway, I'm most proud of my Quest for Glory 1 run. Another career?
Congratulations, to Kane on winning the Making Waves Award. Let's get a round of applause for Kane. Let's hear it. Excellent work. Absolutely demolishing the Quest for Glory series. Let's see what we have up next. There, we're getting towards the end here, folks. Getting towards the end here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for bearing with me. Running the stream solo. But here we go with the next award.
Hello.
Beats me. Would you? Oh, can't hurt to try, right? No.
Did anybody just see that? Sorry, I'm doing something weird here that I'm probably going to regret. What are we doing up there? Okay. Only half of paying attention to Mosley. Love it.
Yeah.
We get the clay before,
Oh,
what is going on? Sucked into the vortex there. Alright, we didn't end up getting the clay.
Congratulations to the Woofs on winning the Super Streamer Award. The Super Streamer Award. And we did have a little interview with the Woofs. Let's see what he had to say. All right, we have here the Woofs, recipient of the Super Streamer Award. First question. What was it that first got you into streaming?
This was an interesting question. And funnily enough, the only reason that I started streaming was because the Discord encouraged me to do it. I'm pretty sure it was you, Spade, along with maybe Leo and maybe Steve. I think I had started submitting runs to the special edition board for Monkey Island 2. And there was a lot of chatter, only because it was, somebody new coming in, and there was a lot of very positive reinforcement, being like, "You should stream the attempts. We can coach you through it live," kind of a thing. And that's what I ended up doing and setting the whole thing up. And yeah, I was if you remember, Spade, I was incredibly nervous for the first week of those, and it was some of the worst speedrunning I've ever done. But it was super fun. But that's why I was encouraged to do it, just because. A lot of positive reinforcement here on Speedy Adventures.
That's great. You love to hear it. And second question, how would you describe the vibe you're trying to create for your streams?
The vibe. So I think initially it was to be is unintrusive. Is that a buzzword to have on your stream? Unintrusive. I think that there's a lot of streams that I would kept coming across where I really liked the runner and the game and things, but it was so loud and crazy. Chat was all over the screen. There's things ticking all over the place. It was just very busy, and it was almost stressful to watch. So I when I was starting to put the stream together, I was this is going to be the most calm. If you want to come see a speed run and not be just kind of enjoy the speed run, that was sort of the initial vibe for it. Since then, it's kind of taken on a bit of a kind of late night radio show type vibe. It's been very kind of quiet and relaxed, I think, and I think the word chill is probably overused on this website. I think Twitch must be the chillest website probably on the internet, with the amount of people saying come to my chill stream. But I guess that sort of fits. It's just supposed to be relaxing, I think, and just kind of a place to hang out for a little bit. Unintrusive is probably the word that I would use initially, as funny as that is.
All right, that's great. I love to hear it. And do you have a favorite moment or a stream or even a speed run from this past year that was your favorite?
Yeah, this was hard. There are too many good answers for this. I think that probably one of the best single moments on the stream this year was probably my initial playthrough of Gabriel Knight 20th anniversary. Because because it was painful for me, which made it fun for other people. I think that was probably the most angry I've ever gotten at, like during a stream, which was probably interesting. But it was a lot of fun as well. As a bigger moment, the month of Monkey was great, where we basically just played all of the current, at that point, 5 Monkey Island games exclusively for what was supposed to be a month, but ended up being about 9 weeks because it was, I don't know, it was fun. That was great. And yeah, honorable mention just to the early months of the year where I was playing Grim Fandango for the first kind of session I ever played that. That was easily the most challenging speedrun I've ever done. And yeah, I don't know, proud of the times that I put up in some of the stuff that, you know, the community discovered during that time. Those are ones that kind of come into mind first, I think. Those are the top moments in my brain.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm flattered.
Hope to see more super streams from the Woofs this year. Okay, shout-outs to the Woofs. Super Streamer Award. Congratulations. Round of applause. The Woofs making big waves in streaming and making big waves in speedrunning. Tune in this weekend and also Wednesday for a run. 2 runs at ESA. 2 runs. Grim Fandango. Find it on Saturday. And it's either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, depending on where you are. A run of Monkey Island 2. Check those out at ESA. Stay tuned for that. And let's see what we have next up. This is our second to the last award. Our second to the last award.
Not disabled, so you click off screen here and then you end up in this room right over here. So you cast open there. So in that you don't actually need the lamp at all, but yeah, when turning's not moving, you can just use that to run right over the log.
And the Discovery of the Year award goes to Quest for Glory 2 Cave Skip. Quest for Glory 2 Cave Skip. Shout outs to the Quest for Glory 2 speedrunners. Of special note, Kane, Oh No's, and Santa. Excellent work on that. And we did manage to have a chat with Santa. Let's see what they had to say.
How do the Quest for Glory 2 cave skips work? The cave skip is ridiculously simple. We just make a single left click with the mouse and that's it. The key is to use the mouse. The dark cave was intended to restrict your movement until you light your lamp. But it was only coded properly for the keyboard, so you can go basically anywhere in the darkness as long as you use the mouse. The cave skip entirely skips the water room and air room puzzles and saves around 13 seconds. It obsoletes one of the oldest speedrun techs in Quest for Glory 2, the log skip, where we crossed a river by typing unlock instead of hopping on a floating log. What makes them so cool? Well, the cave skip is cool, firstly, because it's a large skip. Quest for Glory 2 is a really optimized game, so 13 seconds is a huge time save. Another reason Cave Skip is cool is because of its ridiculous simplicity, and because finding it was a community effort. And fourthly, it's completely ridiculous that it needed a community effort. And there are still some things about how Cave Skip works that we really don't understand. Do you think there might be even more to find in Quest for Glory 2? Well, there was an explosion of speedrun tech in Quest for Glory 2 in the last year. Apart from Cave Skip, there was Lava Skip, Wow Wow Manip, Sentry De-Entry, Rummage Skip, Parser Dumping, and, in 100%, Aziza Skip and Glass Waleed, all discovered or first used in runs in 2022. So that's a bit of a double-edged sword, in that Quest for Glory 2 certainly is a game that can be broken, but on the other hand it's already been smashed apart. But there are still a few ideas we've been looking at in any percent, and there certainly might be something in the other categories which Kane, who is a genius at finding skips, hasn't looked at.
Alrighty. Shoutouts to the Quest for Glory 2 community. Congratulations. Round of applause. And here we are. At the end, nearly at the end of the show. Thank you everybody for watching. And there's one more award. Drum roll, please.
Preparing decryption mechanism.
Just make one small change here.
Drive.
And that's Mike the Viewer winning the Speediest Adventure Award. Congratulations, Mike. And I did get a chance to speak with Mike. And let's see if maybe we can divine the secrets of the speed. And here we have the Speediest Adventure, Mike the Viewer. Welcome. And our first question, when did you first start speedrunning, and what was your first speed game?
Sure. This is actually pretty good timing for me because I started speedrunning pretty much exactly 10 years ago. It was during AGDQ 2013. Basically, when Cypher finished his Zelda A Link to the Past run, right after that, I picked up the controller and learned the route for that game. And that learning process took many months, but from then on, basically for the next 5 years, A Link to the Past was my main speed game. And yeah, in the last couple of years, I guess I pivoted towards adventure games. I've been playing almost only those.
Wow, that's great. I didn't know about that. Interesting. So second question, you're known for your numerous top times in multiple games, including numerous point-and-click adventure games. And additionally, you have won by far the most Speedy Adventures short challenges. And what do you think contributes to your speed?
Well, I think it's probably mostly experience. If you do this stuff for a decade, you kind of learn how to use good tools and methods and things like that. Make sure you record everything from the first moment on, so you can always go back and watch what you did, so that you always have an easy way to time everything. You know, you just try out a lot of things, then go back to the footage and just time it from the video and so on. I think you just learn a lot of things over 10 years and pick up good habits and so on.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Very good. And one more question. What speedrun from this past year are you the most proud of?
Now that's a hard question because I don't really have a single run that stands out for me. I had a really good year of speedrunning again, so I have plenty of runs that I'm proud of. But I'll just pick one. And what I'm going to pick is Zack McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders, because that run was kind of a surprise to me. I just picked it up, I almost want to say on a whim, after I was done with Maniac Mansion. I just really liked how the Maniac Mansion speedrun played, and at the end I was like, hey, wait a minute, doesn't Zack McCracken pretty much play the same way? I haven't played that game in forever. So I tried that again, and honestly it turned out to be a much better speedrun than Maniac Mansion for various reasons. Much less waiting and so on. But you still have the same things that make Maniac Mansion cool. You get to control multiple characters. You have this old school Scum engine control scheme, which I really like for speedruns. Tons of hotkeys, everything is hotkeyed and so on. I really like that one, and I think it's flying under the radar.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing, and congratulations, Mike the Viewer, on being the speediest adventure. Hopefully we'll get many more great speedruns this year. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Shoutouts to Mike the Viewer. Congratulations on winning the Speediest Adventurer Award. Round of applause. All right, folks, that is the show. Thank you so much for watching today. And some final shoutouts and final thank yous. First, we've got to give a big shout out to Casey for getting the ball rolling on this project. Thank you to OneShortEye for helping put together many of these videos as well. Thank you to all of our interviewees and interviewers: Totem, Casey, FrozenSpade, Julia, Summer, Bosca, OneShortEye, JFC, Kane, The Woofs, Santa, and Mike the Viewer. Additionally, congratulations once again. The Hot Speed Game Award goes to Curse of Monkey Island. The Awesome Achievement Award going to FrozenSpade. Short Challenge Award going to the Crimson Diamond. The Community Organizer Award going to Summer. The Behind the Scenes Award going to Bosca. The Content Creation Award going to OneShortEye. The Game Demolition Award going to Return to Zork. The Making a Waves Award going to Kane. The Super Streamer Award going to The Woofs. The Discovery of the Year Award going to Quest for Glory 2 Cave Skip. And the Speediest Adventurer Award going to Mike the Viewer. All right, everybody. Keep an eye out this year, 2023. Did you see something that you thought was notable? Send it in to us, and maybe it'll get featured in next year's Spaddies. I've been your host, FrozenSpade, and we'll see you all next time. Remember to stay cool, game big, and go fast. Adios, everybody.